Welcome back, everyone, to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going deep into the world of PII.
Personally identifiable information.
Yeah, PII, and how AI is being used to detect it.
Right.
We've got some fascinating sources from Weights and Biases, including an article all about, how important PII detection is, real-world code examples.
Oh, wow.
And even some evaluation results from a platform called Weave.
Cool.
So by the end of this deep dive, you'll understand not just what PII is, but why it matters so much.
Especially in our data-driven world.
Exactly. So let's start with the basics. What is PII, and why should we care?
Well, PII is basically any data that can be used to identify an individual, directly or indirectly. This includes things like, names, email addresses, but also things like financial records, health information, even government-issued IDs.
So basically anything that could be used to single you out.
Yeah, pretty much. And this data is valuable for both good and bad.
Yeah, I can see that.
It can be used to, provide personalized services.
Sure.
But it can also be misused.
Right.
For things like identity theft.
Oh, yeah.
Fraud. Imagine, your data falling into the wrong hands.
Yeah, that's a scary thought.
It can have devastating consequences.
So protecting PII isn't just a good idea,
It's often a legal requirement.
Ah, right.
Yeah. Laws governing PII, they vary across the globe.
I imagine so.
And by industry. But they all aim to protect individuals from the misuse of their data.
Okay.
So, for example, the EU has the GDPR.
Right.
California has the CCPA. And in the U.S., IPA safeguards health information.
Right, right.
These regulations, they're complex.
Not bad.
But the underlying principles are, pretty similar.
Okay.
Minimizing data collection.
Makes sense.
Obtaining informed consent.
Right.
And ensuring robust data security.
So it sounds like it's all about finding that balance between, using data to provide valuable services.
Right.
But also protecting individuals from harm.
Exactly. And that's where AI is playing an increasingly important role.
Okay.
Traditional methods for detecting PII, like keyword searches, they're often limited. AI offers a powerful alternative.
Interesting.
Yeah, for automatically identifying and protecting sensitive information.
So the source material dives into three main approaches.
Okay.
Regex, Presidio, and transformers.
Yeah.
Can you break those down for us?
Sure. Regex, or regular expressions, uses predefined patterns to find specific types of PII, like email addresses, for example.
So it's like a very specific search filter.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Useful if you know exactly what you're looking for.
Right.
But it struggles with variations in text.
Okay.
More complex scenarios.
That's right.
Like, for example, if an email address is written in an unconventional format, Regex might miss it. That's where Presidio comes in.
Okay.
It's a framework developed by Microsoft that combines regex with context-aware capabilities.
So it's like regex with a bit more street smart.
Exactly.
It can adapt to different ways of expressing the same information.
Right. But even Presidio relies on predefined rules.
I see.
Which limits its ability to adapt to, completely new or unexpected patterns.
Right, that makes sense.
That's where transformers come in.
Okay.
They're a type of machine learning model that can understand context and adapt to unstructured data.
So instead of relying on pre-programmed rules, transformers can actually learn to identify PII based on the data they are trained on.
That's right. They learn from vast amounts of data.
Wow.
And can identify complex patterns that would be difficult or impossible to program manually.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. This makes them particularly well-suited for detecting PII in unstructured data, like social media posts or emails.
Right.
Where the format can vary widely.
So this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
It's like teaching a machine to understand the nuances of human language.
Right.
And identify sensitive information.
Exactly. And the results are impressive.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The source material uses a platform called Weave to evaluate the performance of these different methods, and the transformer model significantly outperformed both Regex and Presidio.
So it sounds like transformers are the most promising approach for PII detection.
They certainly have the potential to revolutionize how we protect sensitive information.
That's exciting.
It is. But it's important to note that even the best AI isn't perfect.
Of course. Yeah.
There are still challenges to overcome.
Like what?
Well, for example, ensuring that the data used to train these models is diverse and representative.
Right, to avoid bias.
Exactly, to avoid bias and discrimination.
Yeah, that makes sense. We need to make sure these AI systems are fair and equitable.
Absolutely. And we also need to think about transparency.
Yeah.
How can we make sure these AI systems are making decisions in ways that we understand?
Right.
And can hold accountable?
That's a great point. If we're relying on AI to protect our privacy, we need to be able to trust that it's doing so responsibly.
Absolutely. And that brings us to another important consideration.
Okay.
The concept of synthetic data. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard the term.
Okay.
But I'm not entirely sure what it means.
So synthetic data is artificial data that is created to mimic the statistical properties of real data.
Okay.
But doesn't contain any actual PII.
Oh, interesting.
For example, instead of training an AI model on a database of real names and addresses, you could use synthetic data that looks similar but doesn't correspond to any real individual.
So it's like creating a fake data set.
Right.
That has all the same characteristics as the real one, but without the risk of exposing sensitive information.
Exactly. And this is a game changer for PII detection.
Wow.
It allows researchers and developers to train AI models without risking the privacy of individuals.
That's amazing.
It also opens up possibilities for collaboration and data sharing.
That's fascinating. It sounds like synthetic data could be a key to unlocking the potential of AI while mitigating some of the risks.
Exactly. And it raises some really interesting questions about the future of PII.
Like what?
Well, if synthetic data becomes more sophisticated and widely adopted, will we even need to collect and store as much real PII in the first place?
That's a great question. It sounds like we're on the verge of a major shift in how we think about data privacy.
We are, and that's just one of the many thought-provoking aspects of this topic.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground already, but there's still so much more to explore. In the next part of this deep dive, we'll delve deeper into the ethical considerations surrounding the use of AI for PII detection.
It's a complex and evolving landscape, but one that we all have a stake in, so stay tuned.
We just finished talking about how AI is being used to detect PII and the potential of synthetic data.
That's right. Synthetic data offers an intriguing way to train those AI models without using real PII.
Potentially changing how we approach data privacy.
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier that there are challenges to overcome when using AI for PII detection.
Right.
What are some of the things we need to be mindful of?
Well, one challenge is ensuring that those AI systems we build are, reliable and accurate. Take regex, for example.
Okay.
While it's simple, it can miss PII if the format is unusual.
Okay.
Imagine a situation where someone tries to hide an email address,
Right.
by replacing the @ symbol with, @
Okay, yeah.
Regex might not catch that.
Right.
While a more sophisticated method, like a transformer model, trained on a diverse data set, would be more likely to pick it up.
So it's about making sure the AI is smart enough to catch those edge cases.
Yes.
And adapt to new ways people might try to disguise PII.
Exactly, yeah. And then there's the issue of staying ahead of the curve. The methods people use to share and store PII are constantly evolving.
Yeah.
So the AI needs to keep learning and adapting.
Right.
This might involve, retraining the models on new data, or even developing entirely new approaches as technology advances.
So it's like a constant arms race between those trying to protect PII and those who might try to misuse it.
That's a good way to put it. Another challenge is managing the computational resources required for these sophisticated AI models.
Right.
Transformers, for example, they're very powerful.
Yeah.
But can be computationally expensive to train and deploy.
I see.
Especially on those massive data sets.
So it's not just about developing the AI,
right,
but also making sure it's practical to use in real-world settings.
Exactly.
What about the potential for errors?
Sure.
No system is perfect. So how do we handle situations where the AI might, identify something as PII?
Right.
Or miss something it should have caught?
That's a crucial point. And it highlights the need for human oversight.
Okay.
And verification.
Yeah.
Even with the best AI, it's important to have, HUMI experts involved in the process.
Right.
Especially when dealing with sensitive information.
Sure.
They can help to, double check the AI's findings, identify any errors, make sure the system is working as intended.
So it's not about replacing humans with AI, but rather using AI to augment human capabilities.
Exactly.
And make the process more efficient and accurate.
Think of it as a collaboration.
Okay.
The AI can handle the heavy lifting of analyzing large volumes of data, while humans can focus on the more nuanced aspects of interpretation and decision-making.
Right.
And this brings us to another important consideration, the need for continuous monitoring and improvement.
Can you expand on that a bit?
Of course. As we mentioned, the landscape of PII is constantly changing. New technologies are emerging. Regulations are being updated. The ways people use and share data are evolving. This means that the AI systems we use to protect PII need to be constantly monitored and updated to keep up with these changes.
So it's not a set it and forget it situation.
Right.
You need to constantly evaluate the AI's performance, identify any weaknesses, and make adjustments as needed.
Precisely. This might involve retraining the models on new data, fine-tuning the algorithms, or even developing entirely new approaches as new challenges emerge.
It sounds like building and maintaining an effective AI system for PII detection is an ongoing process.
It is, yeah.
That requires expertise, resources, and a commitment to staying ahead of the curve.
That's right. But the benefits are significant. By harnessing the power of AI, we can develop more robust and effective systems for protecting PII, safeguarding individuals from the risks of data misuse.
We've talked about the challenges.
Right.
But let's not forget about the potential benefits of using AI for PII detection.
Absolutely.
Earlier you mentioned automation. Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. One of the biggest advantages of AI is its ability to automate tasks that would be incredibly time-consuming and error-prone for humans to do manually. For example, imagine trying to manually review thousands of documents to identify and redact all instances of PII.
Oh, wow.
It would be a nightmare.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Sounds like a recipe for headaches. And missed deadlines.
Exactly. AI can automate this process, saving time and resources, while also improving accuracy.
So it's not just about efficiency. It's also about improving the overall quality of PII detection.
Yes. And this increased efficiency and accuracy frees up human experts to focus on more complex tasks. Like developing strategies for data protection or investigating potential data breaches.
So like having a superpowered assistant. That can handle the tedious work. While you focus on the big picture.
That's a great analogy. Another benefit is the ability to detect and prevent data breaches. AI systems can analyze patterns and anomalies in data traffic to identify potential threats that humans might miss.
Oh, wow.
This can help organizations to proactively protect their data and prevent breaches before they happen.
So it's not just about reacting to breaches after the fact. It's about using AI to prevent them from happening in the first place.
Exactly. And this is becoming increasingly important as data breaches become more sophisticated and harder to detect. AI can provide an extra layer of security, helping to safeguard sensitive information and protect individuals from those harmful consequences of data breaches.
That's reassuring to know. It sounds like AI has the potential to be a powerful tool in the fight against data misuse.
It does. But as with any powerful tool, it's important to use it responsibly and ethically.
That's a good point. It seems like this is a recurring theme in our conversation.
It is, yeah.
The power of AI comes with the responsibility to use it wisely.
Yes.
And ethically. We need to be mindful of the potential risks and take steps to mitigate them.
Absolutely. We need to ensure that AI is used to enhance privacy, not erode it. And that brings us back to the importance of synthetic data. By using synthetic data to train AI models, we can reduce the need to collect and store real PII, minimizing the risks associated with data breaches and misuse.
It's like finding a way to have our cake and eat it too. We can harness the power of AI for PII detection while also reducing the amount of real PII we need to collect and store.
Exactly. And this could have profound implications for the future of data privacy.
It's exciting to think about the possibilities.
It is. Yeah. And it highlights the need for continued research and development in this area. Yeah. We need to explore new approaches, develop better algorithms, and ensure that AI is used in a way that benefits society as a whole.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. Mm-hmm. From the technical details of PII detection methods to the broader ethical considerations and the potential of synthetic data. This has been a fascinating deep dive.
I agree. And we're not done yet.
Oh, right.
In the final part of our deep dive, we'll shift gears slightly and explore a topic that's closely related to PII.
Okay.
The concept of de-identification.
I'm intrigued. De-identification sounds like it could be a key piece of the privacy puzzle.
It is. It's a fascinating and complex topic with important implications for how we protect personal information in an increasingly data-driven world.
So we've spent the last 2 parts of this deep dive talking about PII.
What it is, why it matters,
right,
and how AI is being used to detect it and protect it.
Yeah. We even touched on the potential of synthetic data to change the way we think about data privacy. We also talk about some of the challenges, the importance of, human oversight, accuracy, continuous improvement.
Absolutely. When using AI for PII detection.
Now, you mentioned we'd be shifting gears slightly in this final part.
Right.
To explore the concept of de-identification.
Yes.
What exactly is de-identification?
Yeah.
And how does it relate to PII?
Okay. So de-identification is basically the process of removing or modifying personally identifiable information from a data set.
Okay.
In a way that makes it difficult or even impossible to re-identify individuals.
Okay.
It's a key technique for protecting privacy while still allowing data to be used for, research, analysis, other purposes.
So instead of just deleting the data altogether, which would be a huge loss, de-identification lets you make it less sensitive.
Exactly.
By stripping out the parts that could be used to identify individuals.
It's about finding a balance between data utility and privacy protection.
Okay.
Think of it like this. You have a data set. It contains information about patients in a hospital.
Right.
You want to use this data to study the effectiveness of different treatments.
Yeah, okay.
But you also want to protect the privacy of the patients.
Right, of course.
De-identification allows you to do both.
Okay.
You remove or modify the PII names, addresses, social security numbers.
Yeah, go.
But you still keep the relevant medical information for your study.
Gotcha. So how exactly is de-identification done? Are there different techniques?
There are several techniques, and they vary in their complexity and effectiveness.
Okay.
One common technique is masking.
Masking?
Yeah, which involves replacing sensitive data with a placeholder.
Okay.
Or a less specific value.
All right.
So, for example, you could replace a patient's full name with their initials.
Right.
Or their age range instead of their exact birth date.
So it's like redacting sensitive information,
yeah.
But instead of like blacking it out completely, you're replacing it with something less revealing.
That's a good way to think about it. Another technique is generalization.
Okay.
This involves replacing specific values with more general categories.
All right.
So you could replace a patient's specific zip code with a broader geographic region.
Right.
Or their exact income with an income bracket.
I see. So you're essentially blurring the lines a bit.
Right.
Makes it harder to pinpoint individuals while still retaining some useful information about the group as a whole.
Exactly. And there are more advanced techniques like perturbation.
Perturbation.
Which involves adding random noise to the data.
Okay.
Or encryption.
Right.
Which uses algorithms to scramble the data.
Gotcha.
In a way that can only be reversed with a specific key.
Sounds like there's a whole toolbox of techniques for de-identification.
Yeah.
Each with its own strengths and weaknesses.
That's right. The choice of technique, it depends.
On what?
On the specific data set.
Okay.
The intended use of the data. And the level of privacy protection required.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
Right.
You need to carefully consider the context and choose the most appropriate technique for the situation.
Exactly. And it's important to note that de-identification is not foolproof.
Right.
There's always a risk.
Of what?
That someone could re-identify individuals.
Okay.
Especially if they have access to additional information.
Yeah.
Or if they use sophisticated techniques.
Like what?
Like linkage attack.
What's a linkage attack?
So a linkage attack is where someone tries to re-identify individuals in a de-identified data set.
Okay.
By combining it with other publicly available data sources.
Okay, I see.
So, for example, if you have a de-identified data set of patient health records,
right,
and you know the ages and zip codes of a group of people,
yeah,
you might be able to link those individuals to their records in the data set.
That's a bit unsettling. It sounds like de-identification is a bit of a cat and mouse game.
It can be, yeah.
You're trying to protect privacy, but there's always a risk that someone could find a way to circumvent those protections.
That's true. Yeah. But that doesn't mean de-identification isn't valuable. It's still an important step in protecting privacy.
Okay.
And it can significantly reduce the risk of re-identification.
Right.
And as technology advances, we're developing more sophisticated techniques for de-identification that are harder to circumvent.
That's good to know. Sounds like the field is constantly evolving.
It is. And as we become more reliant on data, the importance of de-identification is only going to increase.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a crucial tool for ensuring that we can use data for good while also protecting the privacy of individuals.
So we've talked about PII detection.
Right.
And de-identification. These seem like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
On the one hand, we're trying to identify PII so we can protect it.
Right.
On the other hand, we're trying to remove or modify PII to reduce the risk of it being misused. Yeah. It's all about finding that balance.
Yes.
Between data utility and privacy.
You've hit the nail on the head. It's a complex balancing act.
Yeah.
And there's no easy answer.
Right.
But by understanding these concepts and the tools available to us, we can navigate this landscape more effectively and work towards a future where data is used responsibly and ethically.
Well, this deep dive has certainly given me a lot to think about. From the basics of PII to the intricacies of AI detection methods, the potential of synthetic data, the importance of de-identification. This has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has been a fascinating journey.
Yeah.
And it highlights the fact that data privacy isn't just a technical issue.
Right.
It's a societal issue. It's about finding ways to use data for good while also respecting individual rights and protecting privacy.
Absolutely. And it's a conversation that we all need to be a part of. So to our listeners, I encourage you to keep exploring this topic, stay informed, and ask questions. The future of data privacy depends on all of us.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back next week with a new topic.
Right.
And a fresh stack of sources. Until then, stay curious.